Over to Craig Warmbold with Community Comment.
Well done. And that is the intro for Community Comment from now on. That is Lakeisha Herenga there on the violin. She is the concert master for the Saturday, October 29th Beaver Dam Area Orchestra Fall Concert, joined here alongside the music director for the BDAO, Aaron Ebersol, and David Sineater, the coordinator of the orchestra. Thank you so much for joining us today, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I think you can use that music anytime you walk into a room, like announce your presence. Craig Warmbold is here.
It would be so great to have like a violinist just follow me everywhere in everyday life and just.
I heard
like soundtrack.
Harrison Ford said anytime he enters a room, they're playing the Indiana Jones theme,
Right.
and he was cursing out John Williams for ever writing that piece of music, which is like the most amazing orchestral music ever.
Very beautifully done. He doesn't get Star Wars then, I guess.
No, I guess it's usually
Just
Indiana Jones. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. So we are live here on Community Comment from the Daily Dodge television studios, which means today we are actually video streaming. So if you'd like to head on over to dailydodge.com if you're not already there and click on the Daily Dodge TV, that's the DDTV tab. You'll be able to watch us here live and in person as we talk about the 23 season.
Well, this is the first performance for this season. So this is our 69th season. It just happens to be our second performance of the year, the calendar year. But our season actually runs from September through April. So this is our very first performance of this season.
Of this season.
Right.
Now, so you filled in the last concert of the previous season then. This is your second
This
time.
is my second concert. So, right, I took over January 1st. And so my first concert was the tail end of last season.
Yes, as I understand it, I believe you chased Rich Zeman out of town, and he's just not coming back, as I understand it.
Yeah.
I think what's really amazing, she had said it's the 69th season. Aaron is only the third conductor of the group. So 1954, this group got started by Glenn Wood, and then Rich Zeman took over and was there 25, 30 years. And so I was joking with Erin last year, right before she started, like, this is at least a 25-year commitment. So
if you could make it to 2054, I mean, like, how perfect is that,
really be something,
right? To conclude. And then David or Lakeisha, you'd be ready to step in there at that
sure,
point,
yeah.
I assume?
Yeah.
So it is the Beaver Dam Area Orchestra's inaugural run for 2022 here, 2022-2023 season, in a different location than it might normally be.
yeah, usually it's at the high school auditorium. However, I think I heard they were redoing their lighting or something like that, so their stage is actually closed off for a week or two, right when we usually do it. But fortunately, there was an opening at the BDACT Fine Arts Center, Beaver Dam Community Theater, that we could use their stage. So we're excited to perform in that space. That is an awesome space to perform in. It's got some fewer seats than the high school auditorium. I know the orchestra has a nice draw to it, so be sure to get there a little earlier than usual to get your seats and see the orchestra. We'll be a little bit more cozier. The stage is, slightly smaller than the high school stage, so that's kind of cool too, to like really see that big band of 60 performers.
Right.
I shouldn't say band, it's like
Orchestra.
it's a symphonic orchestra. 60 members like filling up that stage, and I think Erin even had some members that are like waiting in the wings because she's like, I'm sorry, I don't think we have enough room for all of you at that facility. So December we have even more performers coming in, so we're very blessed to have so many people interested in performing with the group.
In December for the big Christmas show, then you will be back at the
high school auditorium. Yes,
So,
that's 5 and 7 Heffron family Christmas, basically.
so David, then I assume that as coordinator of the Beaver Dam Area Orchestra, you called over to the Beaver Dam Area Community Theater and said, I need to talk to David. And they said, could you be more specific? And then you said, David, the one who's a drummer. And then they said, could you be more specific? And then you said the David who was in that Keanu Reeves, Dan Aykroyd movie. And they said, yes, now we know.
No, I said David S., and they're like, can you be more specific? Yeah. or New Dave.
New Dave.
He's got me by a few years, but I am somehow Old Dave, and I'm not sure how I feel about being Old Dave. I didn't think I was quite ready for that yet.
So what is it like then have you played much since 1954 as an entity in other places other than the Beaver Dam High School auditorium?
It is not often that we have gone out and played. I know that we have played in Waupun. We did a Veterans Day concert several years ago. I can't think of when that was.
I don't remember the year,
Probably 10 or more years ago even. It is not often that we play away from our home theater of the high school.
Okay, all right. So this is a rare
They've been playing
opportunity.
there since the auditorium was built, which was 1990. And before that, again, like we said, it's been 1954. What's really cool, again, is we have members in the orchestra who have been there for decades that probably remember where they played before 1990 because they've been there since that time. I remember celebrating Shirley Buxton's 90th birthday as part of the orchestra. And on the other end of the spectrum, we have a lot of high school students. You know, they have a certain level of advanced high school that they have to achieve before they can be in the group. But, you know, high school on through 90s, it's an amazing group.
And so here we are, this up to 6 or more.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, I do have those stats if you want.
Oh, yeah, let's go with
So
stats.
we have 56 musicians on stage, and of those 56, we have 7 high school students. They are all in the string section for this concert, and as David mentioned already, we do have some that are interested in joining, which is terrific. But we just can't. We have a little less space at the community theater, so we are just waiting. They'll join us for Christmas. And then also just one other fun fact about us. So we are the area orchestra, and we actually have musicians from 19 different communities.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you mention some of those communities?
Sure.
That's a big secret.
Well, of course, we have Beaver Dam. We have Columbus. We have Arlington, Sun Prairie, Hartford. Lakeisha, you're in Friesland.
Friesland.
So just coming from every direction, but coming to play music. Monday nights we rehearse, and then we have our concerts on Saturdays.
Well, at the very beginning of the season, I found this really interesting because we were putting the message out that our season was starting, and if you're interested in performing with the group, to contact Aaron and, bringing back the previous members from previous years. I didn't want to step on any toes with how far I was casting that net, so I was like, well, we'll see what's happening in Fond du Lac, Sun Prairie, some of these different areas, and I don't want to encroach on any other community orchestra, and a lot of these big communities that I just assumed had stuff like that didn't necessarily have an orchestra or opportunity for string players or for audiences to come see it. So for Beaver Dam, 15,000 people in the area, tens of thousands, not that big in the grand scheme of thing. We have this, 60-member symphonic orchestra that's been going since 1954. I mean, absolutely come down and take advantage of seeing this group perform. Mm-hmm. And best of all, it's a free concert. And it's been free since it's been founded.
Now, Rich Seaman did used to say something about that. I don't know if he gave you clearance to be able to say what he used to say.
It's free to get in, but you have to pay to get out.
So
that's not 100% true either. I mean, if you don't have the means, but you want to come see our app, that's what it's all about. Come out and see us regardless of financial ability. And the same with the orchestra members. There's a lot of choirs and different groups that I know people have to pay $30, $40, $50 to be a part of to help pay for the music, and none of the members have to pay anything to be a part of the group. So to be able to participate and to come see the performances too, and it doesn't cost you a thing, that's amazing. But like what you were getting at, we have so many awesome patrons and sponsors that help pay for that, and they just believe in what the orchestra is doing and the mission of the orchestra and keeping that music alive for the community.
And how does one become a patron member of the Beaver Dam Area Orchestra?
Well, we just so happen to have a brand new website that's up there now, and that's bdorchestra.com. So check that out. We updated it after quite a few years, so now it functions much better if you get on it using a cell phone or like an iPad or something like that. So that looks much sharper. So definitely on there, there's a tab on how to donate. We have a P.O. Box. That's P.O. Box 431 in Beaver Dam. You can send a check through the mail. Just leave us your name and some contact information. We'll put you in our programs.
Aaron, the third conductor of the Beaver Dam Area Orchestra since 1954. First of all, how does it feel to be heading up this group?
Wow, it is a great honor. It is daunting to think about. I don't even think about trying to fill the shoes of Rich Zeman. That's impossible. But I will say that having played under his baton, I got to enjoy just being a musician in the orchestra for almost 20 years off and on, and it's just a wonderful group to be a part of, to play the music. And so understanding some of the history and some of the tradition and knowing a lot of the musicians already, it has been just really an honor and a joy to step up to the podium and play. I'll tell you, it's pretty neat to be able to hand out music to talented musicians like Lakeisha and all the other musicians in the group, and just have them produce beautiful music, and just get to stand up there. And I mean, I am kind of the first audience member. You know, I get to enjoy what's coming at me, and obviously I'm having to, during rehearsal, evaluating and making suggestions, and but really it's a great privilege to get to do that.
Yeah, that must be quite an experience to be up there as the conductor. I imagine you don't get to see an orchestral performance unless you go see an orchestra and you're an actual member of the audience.
Well, right. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I do like to go see orchestras as well, of course, because I enjoy the music very much. But it's and I do a lot of listening, and I get a lot of ideas. I'll tell you, it's kind of constant. I have a long list on my phone of songs that I hear on the radio or wherever else, and I think, oh, I should look into that for the orchestra. So. Yeah.
So we might hear you doing then AC/DC or some,
you never know. You never know. There's been some neat current things that are out there too.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. And typically you would want to then find an orchestral piece that reflects that type of thing, or are there members of the orchestra that have written their own pieces, adapted their own pieces?
Well, actually, on this concert that we're going to be playing a song that was arranged for our orchestra by a member. She's not currently in the orchestra anymore. She moved away. Julie Olson, though, she played bassoon in the orchestra. And the last time we did a Halloween concert, probably a dozen years ago, she arranged the music of Beetlejuice.
Oh, no, from the movie.
From the movie,
Okay.
yeah. And boy, is that a fun piece to play. It's pretty, it goes by in a whirlwind, but
Well,
it is fun.
From the movie, and I hear it's also a big Broadway hit
It
right
is,
now.
yeah.
It's very difficult to get tickets, as I understand, from somebody that just went to New York. But that's fascinating that you're able to do that, to have that level of interaction with your members over the years, that they're adapting things, you're playing them
yeah.
over here. We're going to talk a little bit about the specifics of the program. Before we do that, though, I want to talk to Lakeisha a little bit. Now, Lakeisha, you are the concert master. Thanks for joining us on the program,
No
by
problem.
the way. What is the concert master?
So what I get to do is tune up the orchestra before the concerts. I would say that's a little bit more of a ceremonial thing. If your instrument is not in tune when you go out on stage, that's a problem. So it's basically for show. But I will be listening particularly to the string section and making sure that we are doing like some same articulations, making sure the bowing is coordinated, that type of a thing. If there are violin solos like within the piece, like in Phantom of the Opera, there's like a little tiny solo in there. So those would go to me typically. basically I'm just eyes and ears in the string section a little bit more.
Okay. So tell us, you play violin.
Yes.
How long have you played violin?
Since I was 6,
Okay.
so a long time.
And if you could go back in time and tell that 6-year-old who was practicing something about violin, what would you tell her?
Practice
play
more.
drums. I would have said play drums.
Play drums?
Yeah.
Do you play
Yeah.
other instruments?
I play violin. I am actually a church musician at it's Friesland Community Church and at Second Christian Reformed Church. So I play piano there, I'll play organ. I teach some other instruments, so I do have to know drums. A little bit of trumpet, a little bit of flute, that type of a thing.
What is your favorite instrument to play?
It bounces back and forth. When I was in high school, it was probably piano because that didn't require as much practice. When I was in college, it was violin, and back and forth, back and forth. So it depends upon what season of life I'm in. But it's either piano or violin.
So when you have this opportunity to share your knowledge and your love for music with a student, that 6-year-old who's been practicing and is sick and tired of it and just wants to go watch TV or do something else, what do you tell them?
I tell them, first off, practice first. So you have a reward later on, but you're going to get what you put into it is what you're going to get out. So I have a lot of private lesson students. So I've been through this many times, watching kids make some of the same mistakes I did or not practicing like I did. And I really encourage them to find repertoire that they love, music that they love, and play it like they love it. I don't expect them to absolutely love their scales or love the songs that are boring exercises, but play it like you love it. And you'd be surprised. You give a student music from Star Wars or something like that, and they'll practice the living daylights out of that piece.
Do you remember when you fell in love with music? Was it at age 6? Was it before?
It was before. I was always trying to mess around on the piano, play songs by ear, and my mom was like, "You should take violin lessons. You should take violin lessons." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll try it." And yeah, thanks, Mom.
And now here you are, a
Yes.
multi-instrumentalist and the concert master for the upcoming Beaver Dam Area Orchestra Fall Concert, which is coming up this Saturday, October 29th at the Beaver Dam Area Community Theater. Change of venues if you're just joining us. And if you are just joining us, a reminder that we are video streaming today's program, which is going to be found at Daily Dodge TV. That's DDTV at dailydodge.com. And one of the reasons we're video streaming is because we have an opportunity coming up in just a little bit to hear Lakeisha and one of the little part of one of the pieces that is going to be performed this Saturday. So let's talk a little bit about this Saturday's program. This is kind of like in December, you've got your big Christmas concert.
Right.
The spring is kind of like the spring concert.
It is, yeah.
That goes without saying.
That was very profound.
Thank you. Yeah. What do we do in the fall?
Well, so most often our fall concert is in November. But this year, again, due to some scheduling issues, we ended up on the Saturday before Halloween. And so it just seemed like a really great opportunity. There's so much good music out there that is either related to Halloween directly or could certainly be pulled into a Halloween theme with, whether it's related to scary, like Greek myth. We're playing it off of one of those. There's a funeral march of a marionette. And then there's also just like music from Wicked, which of course has witches in it. So it's a great opportunity to get to play Halloween music because we don't usually do that.
So this hasn't happened much over the years that you've been in October and not in November.
Right.
And in the 20 years that you've been here, David, how long have you been with the orchestra?
I did some playing way back in the 90s. I was the coordinator previously from 04 to 09, I think. Yeah, I think just that one time I remember a Halloween concert, like Aaron said, about 12 years ago.
Okay, about 12 years ago. Lakeisha, how long have you been with the orchestra?
Since 2007.
Since 2007. So this a very rare opportunity
Right.
to be able to experience this on Saturday at 7:00. So this is your kind of brainchild as the conductor to kind of come up with the flow of the concert, the music selection, and everything.
Right. So I'm trying to pick variety of music.
Mm-hmm.
So we have music from movies. We have music from Beetlejuice. And from the movie Coco, which is an animated movie. It's not actually about Halloween. It's about the Day of the Dead, but just a couple days later.
It counts.
So it fits right in there. So we've got a beautiful piece called Remember Me from that.
Okay.
And it even starts off with a violin solo. So that's a really nice little piece. We're doing some music from some old stage performances, so from the 1800s, like Pirates of Penzance, because pirates, again, for Halloween. But then we're also doing a piece by Camille Saint-Saëns called Dance Macabre, and that is, he called it a poème symphonique. And so it's a tone poem, and so what Saint-Saëns did is he wrote music to portray a particular scene, and then the story that he used is basically at midnight is when the spirits and the spooks come out, and so he wrote that musically with xylophone portraying the bones of a skeleton and the rooster crowing to end the party, basically, and that's portrayed by the oboe. But then also the music of the devil himself is a violin solo. And so that is what Lakeisha played at the very start of the program, and why it sounds kind of disturbing to our ears. He really laid into the tritone chord, so it's the greatest distance between. It's a raised fourth, and so it sounds disturbing to us. And at that time that he used it, it wasn't used by orchestras. He used it to get at people, to make it sound like that, because it was considered the devil's chord. So
It was outlawed at one
Well, I
point,
don't know
if
if it
I'm
was
not
outlawed.
mistaken. Was it not? I thought
don't know.
or is that the myth that comes
I
along
had
with
not
it, that
heard
there
that,
were...
But yeah, it was. I
Okay.
mean, people were kind of scandalized by the use of the xylophone, which like nowadays we're sort of like, oh, xylophone.
Sure.
We all know that instrument, but at the time it really got to people.
So, Lakeisha, when you're playing this particular piece, Dance Macabre,
Dance Macabre.
what goes through your mind as the violinist?
Well, if you look at my music, counting, there's a lot of rests in there, and I got to make sure I come in on time. The hardest part about the piece is that devil's chord. I have to kind of go into a weird position in order to play it. But dancing, like it's a very fast, crazy, strange dance. And the last time we practiced, it was interesting as I was playing my part. There's a lot of I play and then some instruments in the orchestra echo or vice versa. So it is like a dance. My violin is dancing with the orchestra instruments. So I really like the piece.
And in the audience, I always think, like, I wonder if that's the tune he played that one time he went to Georgia.
Right.
I don't know. Well, listening to Erin run down the concert that she had picked out, I've had the privilege of playing in the community band with her for a bunch of years, and I've always thought she's done just a fantastic job of picking out music that the members are able to, like, okay, that was a fun song to play, and then also music that's like, that was challenging, and so it doesn't get boring and it doesn't get too intense, so it's really good for the performers, and then also being interesting to the people in the audience as well. If you're not into the heavier complex songs from the 1800s, all of a sudden there's selections from Wicked. So there's always something for everybody at any of these concerts. You're going to find something that you just absolutely love from the orchestra. And I think it's incredibly hard to do that and pick out the music and get the orchestra to play that way. So kudos to Erin for always doing that. And
Thank you.
she was talking about the big shoes that she's filling, but she did that with Jerry Anderson for the community band, and was at that same level and put her own stamp on it as well. So we are so fortunate to have her as conductor.
Erin Eversole, used to big shoes.
Right? Yeah, I guess so.
Is the and it's my understanding we are going to be treated to a little bit of Dance Macabre from Lakeisha. We do have to take a break first, so when we come back in our next segment, you will hear live from the Daily Dodge television studios a little bit of a piece of the performance that we're going to be seeing on the stage of the Beaver Dam Area Community Theater this coming Saturday. Our guests are the concert master, Lakeisha Herenga. We've got David Sineater. He is the coordinator of the Beaver Dam Area Orchestra, and the music director, Aaron Ebersole, here with us. All back in a few minutes on Community Comment.
You're listening to 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. The time is 1:05. Let's go back to Craig Warmbold for more community comment.
Guests are with the Beaver Dam Area Orchestra. Aaron Ebersole is the music director. Lakeisha Herenga is the concert master of this Saturday's upcoming performance. David Sineater, the coordinator here, performing at 7 o'clock at the Beaver Dam Area Community Theater. Not their traditional venue, but it is their venue for their very rare October show, which has got something of a kind of an Octoberish theme to it. David, are you performing this Saturday, or are you just coordinating? Not just coordinating, because coordinating I'm sure is very hard.
I am just coordinating.
Okay,
this,
all right.
Yeah.
No drums in an orchestra?
There's some, but again, there's some space reservations. So Aaron was picking music that we didn't need to haul down timpani and a lot of big equipment like that. So
We're trying to get David to do a drum solo before all is said and done. We do have Lakeisha lined up to give us a bit of the performance of one of the songs that they've got coming up. But let's. This song again is "Dance Macabre." This was Camille Saint-Saëns.
Saint-Saëns, he's
Saint-Saëns?
French. Yeah.
I'd say it like you, Craig. So,
Saint-Saëns. Well, I mean,
I just say it really fast. So, like, what did he say?
it just looks like a one-syllable word. I'm just saying. This is going to be in the second act of the performance this
Yes.
week.
Yep.
Again, our concert master Lakeisha is going to be giving the solo. Lakeisha, do you want to give us can you give us some insight musically into what it is you're going to be performing?
All right, so in the piece, I would guess my role, the violin's role, is that of the devil, dancing with all the spirits on Halloween night or whatever night this is portrayed as. So it has some very jarring notes on there, and then it kind of goes into a dance-like waltz, and then back and forth with the other instruments echoing, and kind of like a call and response thing. It's like a dance.
Okay. We're going to get to that here in just a minute. Before we do this piece, though, and again, I want to give a heads up to our listeners who may be listening on terrestrial radio. Maybe you want to go watch this live, or come back and watch this on the podcast version after the program is over. But you can go to Daily Dodge TV right now and be able to watch the performance that is about to get underway here. Again, Lakeisha Herenga is the concert master that is involved with this. Other featured soloists that are going to be part of this, Jason Bernhagen.
Right.
Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes, yeah. So Jason is also a member of our orchestra. He plays trumpet, but he's also a wonderful vocalist. And so he's going to be stepping away from his trumpet seat and stepping to the front of the orchestra and singing along with us for Phantom of the Opera. So I'm thrilled.
You're very excited about having Phantom of the Opera.
Well, I am. I actually, so it's interesting. So probably back in the spring, Jason had mentioned that, his vocal training and just like that's really what he does and did. And I said, okay, well, just, send me like 3 songs. If you could ever do these, like what would you want to do with an orchestra if it ever worked out? And he said, and one of them was Phantom of the Opera. And so then as soon as this date became our concert date, and obviously Halloween just lends itself really well to this, I thought, yes, this is going to be on the program. And it's a beautiful arrangement. And the orchestra just plays it so fabulously. It's really, really a highlight. But then his vocals are just wonderful. So, yeah, really a fun piece.
Selections from Phantom
Right.
of the Opera. How? What selections did you choose? Why were they chosen?
Well, that's the title. I don't actually get to choose it. If I actually arranged it myself, then I would choose it. But this is an arrangement done by someone else. So included in this is the theme of Phantom of the Opera, All I Ask of You, Think of Me, Angel of Music, and then Music of the Night. Okay. And and I know, and so Lakeisha also has some of the lead in some of those pieces, and even a little solo on that one too.
So Lakeisha, give us some insight into Phantom of the Opera. Is this a musical that you've enjoyed in your time?
Oh, yes. I've read the book. I have watched the musical. Never attended a live performance of it, though. And I love this arrangement. One of the things that's hard is playing it like you love it and holding back, because you can start the piece and it's just, oh, let's play loud. I love this song. But you got to save something for the end.
Right. It's like the national anthem.
There's a lot of marks in my music. Wait for it, quiet, hold back.
I did hear that I believe Phantom of the Opera is leaving Broadway after 35
Yep, 35 years.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. So you're talking about seeing it live. I guess there's a limited amount of time, or else come see Jason and Lakeisha at our performance Saturday.
Has it been done on the stage of the Beaver Dam Area Community Theater, new or old, as far as you know, David? Phantom of the Opera.
I don't think rights have ever been available for that. There's
that's
a
right.
high school edition that's available. It's like a shortened, a little bit watered down version of it, and then it's hard for high schools to do because the vocals are so high for the female part and complex music. It'd be pretty hard to do for high school. Not saying that it's impossible. Our high school's pretty amazing, I got to tell you.
Okay. So I know I keep teasing it, but we are going to take another break. And when we come back, we are going to hear Lakeisha's performance of Dance Macabre from Camille Saint-Saëns.
Saison.
Saint-Saëns. Okay, I was close.
Just say it fast. Say it fast.
Saison.
Community comment. You're listening to here on WBEV 95.3. Back in a few minutes.
You're listening to 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. The time is 1:15. Let's go back to Craig Warmbold for more community comment.
And our guests are with the Beaver Dam Area Orchestra in talking about their big Halloween concert, which is coming, rare Halloween concert, which is coming up this Saturday, 7 o'clock. It's at a new venue than it usually is. It's just kind of a one-time thing. The Beaver Dam Area Community Theater Fine Arts Center at 117 West Maple Avenue. It is free and open to the public. And our guests in the studio here with us are the coordinator of the Beaver Dam Area Orchestra, David Sineater. Aaron Ebersole is the music director with the BDAO. And Lakeisha Harenga is the Lakeisha Harenga. Did I get it right?
Haringa.
Harenga. Oh, I'm trying so hard.
Just say it fast.
Harenga.
Sound confident.
Sound confident is the concert master, but nobody is more confident in being able to play this piece from Camille Saint-Saëns than is Lakeisha. So Lakeisha, without further ado, I do know that we already talked about the Devil's Tone here and
Yep.
everything like that. Any kind of warnings that we need to give to our this song was said to be illegal during medieval times.
Is that still like a 1800s Beaver Dam? Is that in the books there?
Yeah, I think so.
Do we have to worry about?
It's in Chad Lewis's book. Yeah.
I just don't want the police busting down the door of Daily Dodge, after Lakeisha plays
It is not an ordinance that the Devil's Tone cannot be played in Beaver Dam. So
Okay.
I think we should be okay
We'll
here.
find out.
I thought
we'll
maybe
find
Mayor
out.
Becky
Yeah.
would be listening and be like, "What are they doing down at Daily Dodge?" and like picking up the phone.
Is
and,
that the Devil's Tritone? So with that,
fall off her chair?
usually doesn't go from comedy into this orchestral
Devil's
piece, but we're going to do it here on Community Comment today. Here, if you would, Lakeisha Harenga.
And if you want to hear the rest, you're going to have to come to the concert.
Wow. Again, since age 6, you have been playing the violin. Have you had an opportunity to perform this piece prior to this?
No, I've always wanted to, but not this piece. So the first time I saw the music was in September when we started practicing.
You've always wanted to.
Because it's a really cool song. And I really like music that's in a minor key, and this is definitely in a minor key. It's actually in G minor, which is my favorite, but that's just nerdy music talk for me. So.
I learned from Spinal Tap that the minor key is the saddest of all the keys. I think that is maybe accurate. It's an old movie
one of the-
reference
one of
to
the
be
best
making
movies
here today.
ever.
I think
Yeah.
so too. What other pieces are out there that you haven't tackled yet that you would like to? That you maybe want to whisper into the ear of the conductor of the Beaver Dam Area Orchestra and say, "Wow, this would
start
be a
writing
great
it
piece."
Well, not any that I can think of that have
Devil Down to
violins. Yeah, well, no, not any that have violin solos that I can think of off the top of my head. But there are some definite pieces, like from movies. We could do something from Titanic with bagpipes. I would appreciate that. Stuff like that.
Have bagpipes ever been part of the orchestra?
Not as far as I
That's a good
know,
question.
It could be a
but
first.
that doesn't mean it can't happen.
I don't think they have a volume knob on bagpipes, do they? I think they're always like at the same volume all the time. So I don't know how that works in an orchestral
Yeah.
setting.
We don't have a whole lot of bagpipe music in our library, but that
Okay.
can change.
Never know. David keeps jokingly mentioning the devil went down to Georgia. Do you play classical when you play violin? Are there other types of music that you're drawn to?
I typically play classical. Once, rarely, I'll play some type of fiddle music. My grampy loved Orange Blossom Special, so me and my sister would play that for him. But I've never tackled The Devil Went Down to Georgia. I've listened to it. I've thought about it. I've been told by my uncles that I should play it, but I have not tried that one yet.
You could get a fiddle made of gold. I mean, if you practice up well.
Right.
That is the end game, ultimately, isn't it?
How'd you get that gold fiddle? Wow.
You mentioned during the break that you like Celtic music as well.
Yes, I like listening to it. So that would be violin. People mistakenly think that there's a violin instrument and there's a fiddle instrument. It's the same instrument, it's the style and how you play it. So I typically play classical violin. If I wanted to, I could play American fiddle. Don't typically want to. That's a little difficult. I do have some students that really like to play American fiddle. Then there's like Celtic fiddle, and that's going to have more grace notes, that type of a thing. Think, Titanic, Irish music, that type of a thing. So I'll like playing some Celtic, and of course, like the music for church. I've done some really fun Christmas pieces that have been pretty epic on the violin before too.
The violin and the fiddle then are the same instrument.
Yes.
Is there a different approach? Obviously, there's a different approach, but is there a different mechanical approach to them in any way in terms of tuning or bridge set or anything like that?
No, you're not going to really adjust anything on the violin. It's how you play it. Generally, fiddle is going to be a little bit more of a harsh approach with the bow. You might have some more pizzicato that's plucking the strings, double stops, playing two strings at once. Celtic, while both of them can be fast, you're going to have some fast sections. Celtic might be known a little bit more for some slow, more lyrical. It's going to have more grace notes in there. Grace notes are really fast, quick notes that ornament.
So if you had to play bluegrass, Orange Blossom Special notwithstanding, does it really become a matter of passion for you and wanting to play something like that, not necessarily a skill set and adapting to that different type of music?
It's both, actually. If you have a passion for it and you use that passion to dedicate yourself to it, then by all means, yes, you can do it. But if you really don't care and you don't try that hard, of course, you're not going to learn it.
David, no drum solo, it looks like. We may hear a little bit more from Lakeisha before we all is said and done.
Sorry I didn't get the memo.
I know, that is okay. So tell us a little bit about, as far as coordinating some of the future events at the Beaver Dam Area Orchestra, what else we might expect out of the 2022-2023 season, and will it be in its traditional venue?
Yes, the next two will be, we do 3 performances a year typically. The next 2 will be at the usual venue of the high school auditorium. So December 10th, mark your calendars for Saturday, December 10th. That's when we have our Christmas concert. Again, that's sponsored by the Heffron family, and they do just an amazing job of making children and families happy during the holidays and giving them all sorts of goodies and candies and toys and books, and I don't know, they've had so many different things that they've given away out of the years. Just such generous people. So don't miss that. 5 o'clock is when we typically have our shortened, abbreviated family concert, we call that. So that doesn't have some of the bigger Christmas pieces, but fun for, having kids in the audience. And again, that's when we do the main giveaways from Heffron's. And then at 7 o'clock, we have the full Christmas performance. So absolutely do not miss that. That is Christmas tradition, I think, for a lot of families in Beaver Dam. And then spring, when we will be doing spring things for the concert, as you said earlier.
Very wisely
That's
stated, yes.
Saturday, April 15th. So again, mark your calendars for that. You don't want to miss that. Again, it's a free concert, so you can't lose.
Tom and Judy Heffron sponsoring the Christmas concert as they usually do. Are there sponsors for the Halloween concert?
There are. So Jack and Arlene Schumann Foundation is sponsoring, along with Kevin and Amanda Lupke.
Okay.
So
some good things
Kevin
have come
is one of our board members and performer. Very lucky to have these people, and Schumann's have been doing that for a number of years as well. So again, these are the people helping provide free performances for the community.
Mm-hmm. And Aaron, go on.
Yeah, I was just going to mention too that in the past couple of years we have been streaming some things from the high school. If you weren't able to come out or you were hesitant about coming out, we did talk with Greg, who is doing tech work at the community theater, and was a little nervous about some of the tech equipment that isn't going to be there for this show. So we are going to record it, and we are going to post it later. It just won't be streamed live. Okay. And actually, if you are able to make it down and see the orchestra live, it is so much better in person versus going through a microphone and through tiny little phone or computer speakers. It is such an amazing experience to hear that full, almost 60-member symphonic orchestra and that bass drum beating in your chest and the strings all going. It's great experience. So if you can make it down there, I know there's a lot of people from way far out of the community who have members maybe playing, and that's great that we can record it and they can see it from wherever they are, or if you have difficulties getting down there. But yeah, definitely try this Saturday. It's after all the fall downtown fest stuff, so there's a lot of cool stuff happening downtown on Saturdays. So go to that stuff in the morning, early afternoon, go out for a nice dinner, and then come see the orchestra at 7.
And Aaron, of course, we hope to have you back before the big Christmas concert.
I hope so too.
Are you already thinking about the Christmas concert at this point? Are you
Well-
still in Halloween mode?
Well, ironically, a week from today, we will be rehearsing Christmas music.
Is that right?
Right,
Okay.
right on Halloween. We're gonna read through Christmas music. So yeah, that is on my list for today. I'm gonna be going and sorting out and making sure all the folders are ready for next for that very, very quick turnaround.
Is it going to be a surprise what the music selections are next Monday, or will folks in the orchestra get a little bit of a heads up this week?
I think we're probably holding on to that for just a little longer. We've got enough to focus on for this week. This music. It's a lot of fun, and it is a lot of it is lighthearted. Some of it is serious and spooky, but a lot of it is actually probably more difficult than it sounds. And so that has been a challenge for us, because not only is this a different venue than usual, it's a rare opportunity to play in October, but it's also maybe 2 or 3 rehearsals less than we normally have.
Oh, okay.
Which maybe doesn't sound like a lot to some people, but when we only meet once a week, it's a little bit more work to compress into one concert. So yeah, it is delightful music to play, and there are times when when I have a hard time kind of focusing on my job of okay, what do we need to improve here, because I'm going, wow, this is really great and I'm enjoying this so much. So yeah, it's going to be a very fun week. We have one more rehearsal tonight, but then just really enjoying the performance on Saturday.
Excellent, very good. We're gonna leave you in just a few minutes with just a little snippet of, or as much as you want. Quite honestly, we'll stay here all afternoon of Phantom of the Opera. Before we do let you go, David, why should our listeners make it a point to head out to the Beaver Dam Area Community Theater Fine Arts Center this Saturday at 7 o'clock to check out the Beaver Dam Area Orchestra's Halloween concert?
Oh, yeah, I kind of touched on it before with it just being such a wonderful experience. There's no cost to it. You're totally welcome to make a donation at the performance, but seeing a big orchestra like that live is such a wonderful experience, and that we have something like that in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin is so amazing. So be sure to take advantage of it. And
Lakeisha, before we get to your piece, your thoughts about why our listeners should check out the Halloween concert from the BDAO.
A lot of people don't get exposed to classical music and other music in their lives. They listen to songs on the radio, songs on their phone, but they're not tracking down this music. And music is really good for you mentally, emotionally. It's how we express ourselves, and being exposed to music of this quality by a local group is just wonderful for people to attend. I mean, the sky's the limit, honestly. I would not be a part of the orchestra if I had not started attending concerts when I was little. And even people who don't play an instrument, what can you learn? How can it help you relax at the end of the day? How can it get you excited about something?
Excellent, very good. Well, I would say, Aaron, that we'd give you the final word, but the violin's going to get the final word
agree.
today.
That would be
But if you would tell our listeners why they should make the orchestra a part of their weekend.
Well, I think it's going to be a wonderful performance. I think that the music there's something for everyone. And there's a lot of very fun music to listen to. And I would even say, even for kids, I think that they will really enjoy Beetlejuice. I'm sure they'll recognize the music from Coco. And there's and the other music that maybe for everyone that they don't necessarily think they know, they'll find out that, they actually do know it. So
Excellent, very good. Without further ado, here is Lakeisha Haringa with a piece of Phantom of the Opera, here to close out our community comment program today. Lakeisha? And a word to local authorities, there was no devil's tritone used in that piece. That was wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today. That is going to do it for today's community comment.